All right, and we are on the air. Hi, I'm Philip Lee. I'm with the Seward County Community College Marketing and Public Relations Office, and I'm here with talking to Athletic Director Dan Artamenko and SID Kenny Hernandez. How are you guys today?
Very good.
Okay. All right, Dan, we've gone through a lot. It's been, no sports in during the fall, but now everything's come together. It's spring and we've got all what, seven, eight athletics going on, and it starts next week. How are things
Yeah.
going so far? Is everyone really ready for the seasons to start?
Are we ready? I don't know. We'll find out, but it's exciting. It's been a journey from middle of March last year to today. Never for sure if we were going to make it this far and what was going to look like, but here we are. Today's the first day of junior college basketball in the nation, and we're getting ready to kick off our seasons as of next week. And I think we're ready as we can be. We're comfortable, we're excited, and I think we're just blessed and happy to have the opportunity that we get to do this. We get to do this as our profession, our career, but I think it really sits well with us. Our students are getting that opportunity to do what they are here at Seward for, provide opportunity to maybe get another scholarship in the future, or just in general continue their education. It's been a tough 11 months, but here we are. We're good to go, and we're excited.
Yeah, I think the community is just chomping at the bit, and I think that, like you sort of said, like when the season abruptly ended last year, I think that there's a feeling of unfinished business, and now we get to start all over again. But more importantly, let's sort of talk with the things that actually had shut us down, and that's the pandemic. I think that you're on the COVID response team, and you've actually really done a great job, I would say, and Kenny as well, and the whole entire like, about putting everything in perspective and actually doing things and putting in all the protocols. We had talked about this a little bit earlier. You guys had scrimmaged out over there, and the protocols seem to be working pretty well. How would you think that went last Friday?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long process of trying to figure out what are the correct protocols, and one of the biggest reasons I was a proponent to moving our seasons to the spring was that we get to see how it's done and really start to be more prepared. So obviously the NBA was the first one to come back. They did it in a bubble. Okay, we learned how that works. Then MLB baseball, and then NCAA football, and it all started coming out, and the NFL, and we got, I guess, more away from the bubble to more of the real world life that we're all living in, and how is that done and everything. So we did as much preparation, and then the day came, and then obviously with the KJCC protocols and the NJCA protocols, we had a good event on Friday last week. We did screenings. Everybody that came into the gym had to be screened, both temperature and symptoms. We have protocols that all workers had to wear masks at all time. And then on the bench, those that were not in the game had to wear a mask on the bench, and I thought we did really well.
And I think one of the things also was very impressive was that basically we talked about how the benches, but also how the spacing was. I mean, we took social distancing pretty seriously over there, and you could sort of see that. And I think that was really important.
Yeah. It's just in general trying to do everything you can just to slow the spread, prevent. Nothing's going to be 100%. Masks aren't 100%. But if it all adds up, even if it's just 1% effective, well, a lot of people are like, oh, that's 99% of the time doesn't work. Well, if you have 100 things that are 1% effective, next thing you know, you're 100% effective, right? So that's kind of what we look at it is even if it just helps a little bit, let's do it. At the end of the day, it's all about giving the opportunity for the students. The students are here for a very specific reason. We have so many students representing Seward from all across the globe here, and they need that opportunity, and this is a way to do it. And that 1% chance to make it just a little bit safer, that 1% chance to more likely compete a season, let's do it. And I think everybody's fully on board. The coaches are fully on board, and the student athletes are fully on board. And once you have all those people combined for that single effort, it's going to be a magical season, I believe.
Yeah. And let's sort of start from the very beginning of this semester over there, where we actually had testing for all the athletes. And we'll be having testing for them, randomized testing every once a week. But I mean, the fact is that I believe that we had somewhere in the vein of 148 students and maybe 2 positives. Does that sound about right? And I think that that sort of starts from, that's where you start from, where you know that your kids and your athletes are good.
Yeah, both semesters, we really wanted to set like this baseline testing to understand where we are and understand if we're, are we having a widespread infection going on or not. And both semesters, the numbers were fairly similar, definitely that low 3-4% rate, if not lower. And basically it tells us that, you know what, we got students that have moved into the dorms. They're going to be interacting in close quarters on the, basketball court or out in other places, that we know at this point in time that we're as safe as potentially that we can be. That doesn't necessarily mean we know they're going to not, get exposed to future situations, but we now have a baseline. Now, as we go throughout the year, we'll do randomized testing, try to find some screenings. And the whole point is just, again, reducing it just enough, right? 1% here, 1% there, that we can get through the year. We know that we're going to have a student athlete probably eventually catch COVID throughout the year, but we want to reduce the how and why and make sure we're not causing further widespread infections. Keep it, as small numbers as possible. And not just an athletic thing, that's a community thing. We don't want to be sending 100 students over to the hospital because we're playing sports. And we just need to make sure that we're smart in that. And I think it's going to work out well. All signs point to, if you follow all the protocols and procedures, the spread is going to be quite minimal. Athletics has not shown to really spread COVID. It's more of the auxiliary things that go around that. And we're going to take as many protocols as we can there to prevent that. Our travel is going to be, greatly restricted. We're not doing, 5, 6, 7-day trips across the country, which that means we get to avoid restaurants, avoid going, public places that we're not in control of, staying at hotels with people from other places that don't have any COVID protocols. So it's going to be pretty straightforward. You get on the bus, you got to get screened. You get off the bus at the other school, you got to get screened. You walk to the locker room, you got to wear a mask. You walk from the locker room to the playing surface, court, field, you got to have a mask. And then when you play, you're good. When you're not playing, mask on, and repeat that process all the way home. It sounds like a lot, but we as a society, we've learned a lot in this last year, and I think we adapt well. The human body adapts well, and everybody's pretty, this is what we got to do. This is what we got to do. No complaints. And I think it will be great, because what we saw last week was a bunch of men's basketball players that were eager to play basketball. You tell them to run through a wall, they'll run through a wall. Having to do a screening on some paper, get a temperature check, no problem, sir. Let's get it done. I want to play basketball. So it's going to work out.
Yeah, I think one of the things is that people have to realize here, especially in the community, is that, Sewage is going to do whatever it can to protect the students and, do as safe as possible. You really can't control outside forces, and that means, we can do the best that we can with other schools. And we're just hoping and praying that they follow the exact same and are committed to being as safe as we are. But you really can't, you really have to hold on to trust for them.
Right. Yeah. It's, we just provide the best opportunity, and we do rely on our students to make the best decisions too. We got to make sure they understand that a Friday night party out in the community is, might be a fun night for them, but could derail the entire season for their entire team. That they got to be part of the bigger picture and understand that going out doing things. Also, traveling. The message from President Ben here at the college is like, we can't control people's travel and really punish people for traveling and come back to work, but understand that it's highly high risk situation where if it happened to come back and you spread the virus on campus, we might get shut down. And just all for one for all type mentality till we get through this. And that's what we're asking out of our players. Like, there'll be plenty of times to go to that house party, go travel, do the things that college students do. Now's not the time. Now it's just to focus in. A lot of them need to get caught up on some of their grades. It's been hard to do in classes remotely over the last year. Get caught up on grades, take advantage of the tutors we have here, the on-campus learning environment we have, get through the semester, get, through the season with your team. And maybe you come back to Seward next fall and we see maybe a normal season or whatever that normal will be, but maybe you find that opportunity at the next level. But if your season gets shut down because a bunch of people went to a party, a lot of those opportunities go away. And so that's why every time I talk to my teams here in the last couple of weeks, it's tough. It's a lot. I'm asking you a lot just to focus in and do this, but just one person can mess it up for everybody. So hold your teammates accountable, hold your friends accountable, hold your family accountable. You want to come see aunt and uncle, they want to come see you. I got a newborn kid at the house. I got a lot of family that want to come see us, but I also understand, that's risky that they're traveling multiple state lines to come do that. Let's wait till a better time and we'll do it in the summer and we can do it safely then.
Have you been talking to any of the other junior colleges, athletic directors, and what's been sort of the feel that you get? Are they sort of just as serious as we are?
I think we're probably on the higher end of the safety protocols as far as junior colleges. But I think that kind of speaks to the tradition of Seward in itself. All the guidance and recommendation that's out there is based behind NCAA schools, schools with decent budgets. We're talking bigger schools. A lot of times as a junior college, it's hard to duplicate what they're doing. So I think we're on the end of, if that's what the safe protocols are, we're going to do as much as we can and be creative in our funding or figure out ways to do it. And a lot of that is relationship based. Not a lot of schools are going to be able to test like we are. And that's a direct benefit of working with our Seward County Health Department. They are amazing, great to work with. Johnny Ralston has been great to help us out with guidance and testing. That's a resource we have here that's not cash, but we're able to get done. That puts us more in line with what the recommendations are versus some schools that can't test even if they had the money to. So yeah, I think we're on the better end of it, which is also a lot of people are looking at us as kind of the how to guide to go forward. A lot of people are looking at us and the Jayhawk in general. I think the Jayhawk conference in general has some of the strictest protocols and everything. And when I say strict, they're really aligned like with what the Big 12 is doing, Big 10 conferences that you're more aware of. But I just think we're trying to set the standard of this way it's going to be, and we want to have a season, so let's do it this way.
Yeah, I think you absolutely hit it incredibly right on the head. There's been a lot of issues about funding and things that you can do. And, people are saying, well, why can't you do it like Duke? Why can't you do it like, the Big 12, the Texas, or whatever? And it's like, well, we have limited resources and can only do so much. And it'd be great if we could test 2 or 3 times a day at everyone out over there. In fact, actually, though, like you sort of just said, is that we've been pretty lucky. This semester, we've got some more money. We've got the backing of the Seward County Health Department. Again, kudos out to them for helping us out, that we are able to do this. And the great thing is that, you recognize that and says, we have the ability, why not do this? One of the things that you're implementing as well is healthy roster, something that we and you and President Bennett have decided that it's worthwhile to actually go and do it. And I think that's great. Actually, can you explain that a little bit of what healthy roster is?
Yeah, healthy rosters it's a interface app website that's built around the athletic training needs to communicate with student athletes, coaches, and administrators. So that's what the platform is built upon. It has a way for medical providers, doctors, whoever is a medical provider, to upload documents. Just a nice, good, safe way to stay HIPAA compliant, FERPA compliant, but also the biggest obstacle in a lot of things in life is communication. It really helps out with communication because, obviously text messages are a standard in today's world, but athletic trainers sending a text message to a student and then a student's trying to communicate that. That's not necessarily HIPAA compliant, but also the best thing to do. But then you got a text message chain to have 5 different people needing that information. So this program combines all that. Well, what that really means here for the COVID stuff, we have a documented, centralized place that we can do COVID type screenings, information, documents. If a student has the runny nose and is that COVID, is that something else? Instead of, it's a good centralized way. The student has an app that they can punch in all this information, and then it gets disseminated to the correct people, starting with our athletic training staff and on. We are using it in that style, but also we've added a daily come to campus screening questionnaire. Basically, are you feeling sick? Have you been exposed? Do you have COVID? Just asking some very simple questions. It's about 20 seconds to do, and it just, more than anything, brings awareness to the person filling out that form. Wait, did I have a headache last night? Did I have a fever? Just keep them constantly reminded. And again, if 5 people like get reminded to stay at home by that daily questionnaire, that's 5 people that would have been on campus potentially spreading not just COVID. What if it was the flu or some other type of sickness? Just to help the community stay a little bit healthier. So that's nice. So that gets generated. If they have symptoms or something, they need to stay home. It documents it. Our athletic training staff knows. Now when they communicate to their professors that they're going to need to take the day off, go Zoom for today or whatever, it's all documented in that spot. And then obviously on an athletic side of things, even more so, there's still some questions on the long-term safety of COVID and effects of COVID. There's at one time there was links to myocarditis with those with COVID, and there was a link to some lung scarring, and that data changes by the week, day. There's still a lot of information out there. We work with what we got right now, but for us, if we have a place that we can say, all right, athlete was COVID positive in January, and now in April we're seeing some of these unique symptoms. We are able to kind of centralize all that and share that with the medical providers and get maybe better clearance so they can return to play in a safer way. This goes back to trying to utilize the resources we have. At those big schools, they got doctors on staff that in the house, on the floor, that they can do cardiac screenings before practice every day with EKGs and everything. Obviously, that's something our local providers here in town have done a lot to help us, and would love to continue to do those things, but they got to take care of the community first. So they only on an as needed basis. So that's one of those ways maybe we can do some groundwork. And then if there's a questionable situation, like, all right, the student had COVID in January, but now their chest is hurting in March. Is that COVID related? Is that a side effect? Or, did they just pull a muscle when they fell on the floor and we're not sure? You never know, but we want to be 100% extra safe and do what we need to do. And Healthy Rosters is providing that extra level of security. And then one thing we like in athletics that Healthy Rosters is doing is every student that comes to campus is going to do that screening. Because we may be in our own little athletic bubble, right? Baseball players, they room together, they go eat in the cafeteria together, they go to the field together, so they don't see anybody, but they still go to class. And maybe that person sitting next to them in class, they have none of those same protocols that these athletes have, other than obviously they got to wear a mask on campus. Well, again, maybe we get a couple of those students now are screened and feeling, I'm feeling cough this morning. I'm not going to go to class. Thank you, Healthy Roster, for reminding me. Maybe that person did end up having COVID and we just prevented potential exposure spread in the classroom. It just makes our athletes feel a little bit safe that all those protocols that they're putting in for 20 hours a day, every day a week, 7 days a week, those 4 hours are in the classroom are going to be just as safe as well.
Okay, it's great. Okay, now that we've gone through all the COVID stuff, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the actual athletics and actual sports going. Kenny, what do you see coming up this next week? We've got the season going to be starting. We've got volleyball, basketball. And then after that, we have baseball, softball, and tennis.
Yeah, everything starts up, so it's go time. Spring season usually is dwindling down. Basketball and start of the outdoor sports. This year, it's everything. Everything starts pretty much all at once. I think Dan talked about it earlier. Today is the official start date for basketball. So Basketball, we'll see across the nation some top teams competing today. I know I'm going to be checking out some of the games. It's fun to have JUCO sports back, so I'm going to check out some of the action today. And then also next Monday, volleyball starts. So yesterday, the NJCAA officially announced all the rankings for all the sports that are coming out. So baseball, softball, basketball, and volleyball all got announced yesterday. So I was keeping track of all that, checking that out yesterday, seeing Seward County's name come up. Pretty special for volleyball again, getting the recognition for third in the nation to start things off in the preseason NJCAA polls. And I talked with Coach Gino Fugola yesterday. He's pretty excited, but he also wants to make sure that his team isn't too excited about it and think this is the end goal. You know, preseason polls, it's nice to be recognized at that level, but at the same time, you got to know you got to put the work in too. It doesn't just automatically end tomorrow and you're, you know, third in the nation going to Missouri. So you got to make sure you put in the work now as well in conference. And they got a tough non-conference schedule as well. Turns out that every team that they'll be facing over in Sterling, Colorado will be in the top 14 in the nation. So they got to get to work immediately. And then again with women's basketball, they received some votes. They weren't picked in the top 25, but they got some votes as well. A team that they played in scrimmage last fall in South Plains was third in the nation, and they competed with them. I know scrimmage isn't everything, but they on the scoreboard they ended ahead of them, so you can count it a win, but not really. It was a scrimmage, but again, they're competing with teams that are considered top in the nation, so that's gonna be a lot of fun to watch as well. And then men's basketball with a lot of new faces coming in. It's going to be interesting to see what Coach Sauter kind of rolls out day one and kind of as he kind of progresses throughout his team as well as we kind of watch them progress here in the conference season. As soon as we start a week from today, all basketball start, and then outdoor sports start the 6th of February. We'll begin in baseball. Women's tennis will start then as well. The following weekend will be softball, men's tennis will start then. So 13th of February will be the official start date. Every single program will be in. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to move fast, but looking to get ahead of it and then making sure that we get all the information out for anything coming up, keeping the community involved.
Yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. There's going to be just so much going on. You know, if you are a sports fanatic and you love sports, you're not going to be able to get enough because there's going to be something going on literally every single night with that. So it's going to be great. You know, the interesting thing I think is going to be a lot of fun is that we've got a lot of new coaches. Obviously, we've got a new volleyball coach and we've got some players, but we've got a lot of new players too. For the women, that's going to be really exciting in terms of basketball. We've got a different style coming in. They're run and gun. And, you know, personally, I'm a little bit surprised that we weren't ranked up top. I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm like, if you're definitely going in terms of precedent and how good this team was, basically, we've got the same Division II #1 team coming back in. Somehow I kind of think that that's kind of a slap in the face. And so hopefully Coach Todd or Chetto will use that and the girls will have a little bit of chip on their shoulders and we'll show them exactly how good we are. As far as the Saints go in men's basketball, well, last year we were just the walking wounded and hopefully we'll be able to get some of our players back and actually he'll have a good, solid season for this and actually have, you know, the same lineup coming in every night instead of like 5 different lineups on 5 different games.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And I think on the men's side, definitely, you know, Coach Sauter immediately as soon as, you know, official practice started, back at it, making sure that his teams are known for their defense, and that's definitely going to be a staple again this year, making sure that his team understands that, and they are definitely eager to get out there and play. We saw it last Friday. They were up and down. They had back-to-back scrimmages, and they were hungry for more after 80 minutes of basketball. So it's exciting to see them, and they're going to be deep this year too. They got a lot of talent on the team. Like you said, some of the players that are returners still aren't exactly on the healthy roster quite yet. But once they return, it's going to be a lot of fun to see. Those returners are very special and can play. As for the women's basketball team not receiving any votes, I know Coach Tichetto, he's definitely going to use that as motivation. I talked to him already a little bit about it. It's just climbing the ladder. Now, a lot of these players, like you said, were on the NIAC team last year in Division II, #1 team, going into the national tournament, and they feel like they should be there again. So it's very exciting to see them have that mentality that they should be, ranked higher, obviously, and they want to just keep climbing the ladder, and they're never satisfied, which is good. So it's nice to see kind of when they have that hunger and determination. It's going to be fun to watch, especially next Wednesday, to see them in action at Allen and then start conference off. And it's going to be just a go, go, go season. But they're definitely eager and excited to get out there.
Yep. One thing that I wanted to sort of mention too, and obviously it's sort of been a question that's been hanging over us, is the fans. Now, like we're not going to be able to have fans in for the first couple of games, and then you guys will meet again and then make a decision on that. But one thing I want to touch on that is that during the scrimmages, you guys have had the feed on SewardSaints.com, and I think that's great. It sort of seems that you guys are trying your hardest to get the fans to see the games, even though they can't be there. So I guys want you to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we want to stay connected with all fans, not just our local fans that would come to the games. We have to understand the majority of our student athletes have family that aren't located within the Liberal area and really want to watch, their grandchild or niece play for the Saints. It's a big honor to be playing for us. Their entire family wants to join in and share that with them. So something we've kind of always looked at, but we will broadcast every single one of our games in HD. We have 2 HD cameras that are set up, good to go. And then we want to look to try to enrich the experience of that broadcast whenever possible, or whenever a game is being broadcasted by our local radio station, Brock Kappelman. We will be using his play-by-play on the broadcast. So you kind of get a more immersive effect of what he sees and what his analysis are of the game going on down there. And then in addition, Kenny's been working on some graphics and trying to help, like, since we don't have, programs to hand out to our fans or media guides to purchase from, a concession stand or something. He's going to look at trying to provide some type of, interactive, here's the starting lineup potentially, maybe like certain graphics or images that can showcase players, since we're not being seen on a piece of paper here in the gym anymore. So yeah, we're going to look to try to do more and more with it. We want to really grow it. We even have the equipment to try to run a multi-angle camera broadcast that we hope to debut here in the near future at a basketball game. See, and see what that looks like. And maybe that's something we can do permanently, having, a courtside angle or maybe the corner angle just to kind of see different views, or maybe use that as like a replay clip to show on to our main watchers. So I think whatever we can do, we're going to try. And if it's not necessarily financially feasible, we're going to do everything in our mental powers to try to find a solution that can keep up with that, because we want a product that looks like we're in the Big 12 and the Big 10. We want people to know what Seward County, it means something special, whether you're a player, whether you're an employee / coach, or you're just a fan. You're part of something special.
Yeah, I think it's really important to sort of get it out over there, because we have such a rabid fan base, and people love to come on. If they can't, we need to go ahead and make sure that the games and the kids are out there as well. So again, what's your sort of feeling about fans coming back? Any kind of a feeling that you've gotten so far that we may see maybe 10%, 30%, or maybe they'll just sort of decide to keep it the way it is? Any kind of feel?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really too much insight that can be given. I do know for a fact that if we did allow fans, it would be a maximum of 25%. But the odds of that happening and no fans, I don't know. I will say it's 50-50, only because it's either yes or no. That's I think it's, every school feels completely different. Even if at the end of the day, half the schools will vote yes. They're voting yes for different reasons, and the other half are voting no. They're all voting no for a different reason than each other. So we want to do what's best. And me personally, our vote here from Seward is, what do we feel gives the students the best chance to complete their season and enjoy their time at their college? And if that does mean no fans for this semester, and that gives them the best chance to compete, then we need to do that. If we feel comfortable across the board at all 21 schools, because that's important. When you get 21 different opinions in a room, how do you get 21 agree? But that's what a conference is about. You saw that in the Big Ten with football. Sometimes Nebraska or whatever didn't necessarily agree with the rest of the conference, but when you're in a conference, you're in it together. You're family. You do it all together. If we, as 21, feel we can do it together safely, we would be in supportive of that if we knew that was the case. So it'll be interesting. I think a lot of people wanted to see how these next 10 days go, as far as, how compliance, as far as the players, how are there outbreaks happening on campuses? What's the environment across the nation look like? And, unfortunately, what we always talked about back in August, well, in a couple months, we'll know more. We'll have a better idea what it looks like. And we kept saying that. Now, instead of a couple months, we're a couple days. And I still feel like, well, we'll know more once things start. And I think we're kind of to the point we realize we're not going to know much more. It is what it is, and we need to move forward. And so whatever it's going to take to move forward with the season, to finish that complete season at the end of the year, we need to do.
Whereas the bottom line is it's just about safety.
Yep.
And I think that's what it is. But I'm sure that, you guys have everything sort of, well, I won't say mapped out, but it's in the back of your mind, whatever, if we decide to let fans in, you'll let the booster club know, you'll let the general public know of how everything was. I know that I have had people ask me already, like, who you gonna be let in? And I'm sure that that's not a something I envy, being from my point of view from you guys, because those decisions are hard. And everyone's going to want something out over there, where you're going to have concessions, or you're going to have this or have that. And I think that, you wait for the first question is that, are we going to let the fans in? And then you go from there. And actually, the very first thing is just play the games. Play the games first, and then everything will sort of.
Can we play the game first? Yeah, exactly. And slowly grow from there. You're right. Like, who's the first people that are allowed in the gym? The scrimmage Friday, right before it started, I had a bunch of the student athletes from the other sports come and sit in the gym. And unfortunately, I had to go kick them out. It was kind of painful they just wanted to be there to support their friends. And like, no, here's the deal. If I let you in, next thing you know, I got to let all students in. And maybe we only got 50 students that want to come to a game, but we have over 1,000 students enrolled at Seward. And if 1,000 people showed up, we'd be in a world of hurt. And that's kind of the reality. If okay, we open it to fans, all right, only booster club members get in. Well, what if 1,000 people sign up to be a booster club just so they can come? Yeah, we got a lot of contingency plans, and we, there's not just plan B, A, B, and C. I think we're all down to plans F, G. It continues to go, and we'll just day by day get through it. And if we get to do concessions one day and not the other, that's the way it'll be. But I think if we go down that path, we know it's because we're safe on the court, safe on the fields, and we're able to play a game. And if we're playing games, that's all that matters.
Exactly. I think that's just the bottom line of it all. And to get these kids to play in, for people to start seeing them and support them, I think that's sort of the bottom line. One more thing I want to ask before I let you guys go: how's that All-American been coming around? Starting to look pretty good.
Yeah, it's looking good over there. When we do have fans, whether it's this year or if it ends up being next year, we're going to have some nice little touches and updates that people will see. Initially, the All-American room is now called the Hall of Saints. It's been renovated, more of like a lounge area. It has nice TVs. It's got high top tables with high top stools. A nice place to do some nice things that we have some ideas going forward. We envision it being used on game days as kind of maybe a little bit more of a private area that booster club members or foundation members can get into to maybe get away, get a little break, maybe drink their soda or have some their nachos on their own. we also, with the TVs, we know everybody's a Seward Saint fan, and we appreciate that, but we also understand there's a lot of Jayhawk fans in this area. You know, there's a lot of OU fans that like to watch their football teams, or even just Cowboy fans or Kansas City Chief fans. And if somebody wants to watch a Kansas City Chief game, we'd rather them come watch it here at Seward County and support our Lady Saints during the game and watch the Chiefs at halftime versus staying at home. So we want to provide every opportunity to get a fan into our building. And so that's what we'll use it for. And then obviously we'll do it for our special events outside of game days. But even in addition to that, we're renovating the west hallway where the old ticket booth used to be. And that one will be a project that we'll look to get complete by next August. That will really, make that area stand out and be an interactive area for all our fans coming in. So we're excited about all the upgrades that we're going to work on here at the Greenhouse.
Yeah, there seems to be just so much going on. And there's still the Champion Center and everything going on with that as well. And, there's just so much going on in athletics. And I think that, we're definitely trending in the right direction. Kenny, anything else you want to add?
No, just we'll keep everybody informed. Like we talked about with the fan situation, what's going on with that. February 1st, they'll get together, and as soon as we get information, we'll be informing the community as we kind of move forward here in the seasons. And just want to say, let's go Saints. I'm excited to get back after it, get out there on the courts and in the field with our teams. And I know they put a lot of work in the fall, and I'm just excited that they get an opportunity now to have games. And I'm going to do everything that we can to make sure that they continue to have their games.
Dan, anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just excited. I'm excited about the opportunity. First, we'll take care of these students, but I'm excited to be connected back with the fans. And if that just means Twitter comments, Facebook comments, and, I'm just excited about that. If we can eventually get, fans on campus. We all work in athletics because it's a great community, family type environment, right? It's long hours, really low pay to get going, but you do it for the love of the game and for the love of the team culture. And the last 8, 9, 10 months have been really hard because we lost all that. And so it's been hard for us in athletics, not just athletics. I understand a lot of people working at home, it's been different, but we've taken away the core of why we're in our profession. A lot of us have degrees that we could go move on and work in the business world and get better money, but that's not what our love and passion is. So I'm just excited that we get that love and passion back for my coaches, my players, and obviously us administrators. And we can't wait to share that with you, and we'll share it any way possible. If that means it's just social media and posts, that's the way we'll do it. If we can do more, and heck, I'm just here thinking off the top of my head, like we might have to do like a Booster Club fan session on Zoom or something, because we haven't met our Booster Club in a long time. So maybe if we get everybody on Zoom, let them meet a couple players, because those are the moments that are really special when you see the fans saying hello to a player. Hey, where are you from? Tell me your story. The next thing you know, like, wow, there's a connection there between a kid from Brazil and somebody here in Kansas. Next thing you know, their family, their lifelong friends. So we'll get back to that, and hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had touched on that. And we want to keep the fans that they can go to SewardSaints.com to keep up with the latest news. They can go onto Twitter, Instagram, and Seward Saints, and Facebook as well. And just keep up to date with everything that's going on with Seward County Community College athletics. All right, guys, we really appreciate you taking the time out over there. I'm sure that we'll be talking to you pretty soon again. When the season kind of starts, and especially when we get more news, we'll definitely have it out there. Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, everybody.